What's going on, YouTube? Brand new episode of In the Race Shop down your screen. I'm your host, Mason Kushner. Today we are with Danny Bouc, 358 modified driver here at Pipersville, Pennsylvania. Danny, how's it going?
It's going good, man.
So to start off, let's just talk about your trip to Florida. All Tech Raceway Park, Short Track Super Series. How did that really go for you?
This year it went pretty good. You know, we were fourth 2 nights there, top 10 the other 2 nights. You know, just a nice solid, start to the year. Last year was pretty rough down there, so this year it was kind of nice to just get some good finishes and make some good money and start the year on a good foot.
Now I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. Typically when you go to All Tech, it's kind of a slick, smooth. You get to really have a driver course. This year that kind of changed. It was sort of rough, a little heavy. Do you have a preference of track type or?
Yeah, I mean that place is its own beast. It's always slick, even if it's heavy. It's got this greasiness to it that you just can't get a hold of. It's one of them tracks, man. It's usually racier when it's slick. He can kind of do whatever he wants with it. Like he made it heavy that one night for us, and had a little bit of character getting into one there pretty much every night. But that seems to be kind of normal for that place now. We were watching the late models; they were struggling with it too, but. It's got to have a little bit of character to it. It's probably the toughest place that I go to, for driving ability. Like you can never get your car perfect. You watch guys struggle all week down there. So it's always good when you have a couple good runs like we did and start the year off on a good foot.
So my first question to you is, what got you started in racing?
My dad raced. He ran back in the 70s, ran Flemington, Nazareth. Kind of bounced around there, drove for some people, and then life happened for him. So we weren't involved in racing until about the mid '90s, and got involved with go-kart racing there. I started racing in '99, ran some go-kart races till about 2007 until I moved up to sportsman and modifieds.
What was that? Kind of leads my next question. What was like your first car you ever drove?
So I mean, I went right from go-karts. I started in go-karts and moved up through there till I got to the national, WK national level, and then we moved up to the sportsman division. My dad's always been involved with with teams, with building the engines and stuff. So he's always had his foot in the door somewhere with a team, helping him out with engines and things like that. So we've always been involved in modified racing. And 2007, I started driving a sportsman car. Ran Big Diamond a couple times, went to New Egypt, won the rookie championship there, and it's kind of been a slow, steady progression ever since.
Where was your first win in a modified or whatever?
So it would have been those rookie races at New Egypt, and I was just joking around about it with one of my crew guys the other night. I've never won a sportsman race, a regular sportsman race. I won 7 out of 8 or whatever it was at New Egypt, the rookie races that year. We broke on the parade lap on one. That was the only one we didn't win, and moved up to the sportsman division. And pretty much I was leading probably 6 or 7 races that year, and had things break and had part failures, and just pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong, and never got a sportsman win. Went to college, came back, and jumped right into the modified division from there. So probably my first win at New Egypt was with a big block in 2012, I think it was.
Let's talk about this. What is like your most memorable moment in racing and why?
Probably the first big check I have up there. The Coal Cracker win in 2018. That was like my first big win, and I was just kind of starting to break onto the scene a little bit and win some races at New Egypt, and that was like my first big win outside of New Egypt. And we had a pretty tough night before that. I've done quite a few interviews about it. We had twin 20s at New Egypt the night before or something, double points, I forget what it was, and pretty much the car was destroyed and tore up and had a terrible night. And we worked here till about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was on a Sunday. The Coal Cracker was on a Sunday, and half of my crew guys bailed on me because we were just wore out. And I went up and was doing tires by myself and thrashing around all night, and ended up winning the damn thing. So that would probably be one of my most memorable. There's a bunch of them up there. All those big wins, are all very memorable to me. A couple down at Georgetown there. One of my crew guys, Bob, that was kind of one of his last weekends with us. He got diagnosed with cancer and passed away, a couple months after that. But that was a really fun weekend. We swept at Georgetown, and he was there with us, and hanging out and having a couple beers afterwards and having a good time.
Um, do you have like a preference of like a favorite racetrack you like to race at, or is it kind of just all the same?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a kind of a cowboy up type of guy, and hammer around the cushion. And as I'm getting older here, I'm turning into all tech, Port Royal, slick, smooth, slick. You get older, and your old age there, you kind of calm down a little bit, and I pretty much pay for most of this stuff on these cars myself now. Being part owner here, and we on the rough racetracks you end up spending more money. So smoother tracks. I really like Port Royal, All Tech. We run really good at New Egypt, so seem to do pretty good on some of them tracks. We've had a couple good runs over there at Grandview, running for Norm and that situation. So it's I don't try to pick or choose my favorites anymore. You try to do good at all of them. So
try to win most of them,
Yeah, you try to be good everywhere.
What is your like favorite thing about racing?
Man, I don't know. I just got to be the winning. I've always been one of those type of guys that, if I'm not winning, I'm not having fun. If we're not having good runs, I'm miserable. Most of my crew guys will tell you that. So, the winning is definitely, the greatest part of all of this, man. You work so hard to be able to get yourself into those positions, and it's tough to win. So when you do finally win, it feels really good.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna kind of go off topic here, but if you had like any series or car that you would drive besides a modified, what would it be?
Man, I'm really into. I'm a big late model guy. Like we love going to Florida there. Having a couple couple days before. We usually try to catch the Lucas Oil races at All Tech. We used to go to East Bay, hang out down there for a couple days and just relax. But big late model guy. 10 years ago, everybody was wanting me to drive a sprint car because I was pretty rowdy, but I've settled down quite a bit. So I would love to hop in a late model every once in a while, or a sprint car. I'm one of them guys. I'll drive anything. We were watching Trenton last night. I've drove a micro sprint a couple times, so it's kind of like getting the itch last night. Like, man, I should try to find a ride for that deal or something. And so I'm one of them guys. I'll drive anything. As long as it's makes sense and we can run good at it.
And that kind of brings me to my next question. If you were given the opportunity, would you go run like Lucas Oil full time or at World of Outlaw full time or stuff like that?
Yeah.
If you were like out of the modifieds.
Yeah, I mean, of course, anybody would take an opportunity like that and do it. At this point in my career, I'm not that I'm like old yet, but I've been doing this a long time and getting to that verge where I'm getting worn out, and going out on the road like that it's tough, and. But yeah, I mean, if the opportunity arose and we could do something like that, I definitely would. I'm passionate about racing, so hard work don't bother me at all. But getting out on the road like that's a pretty tough thing to do.
So kind of looking on now, you've been doing this for forever, but kind of looking on, do you see yourself somewhere in the future, like running full time, like winning championship, like a point championship at a track or?
Yeah,
anywhere?
I mean, we're kind of. I'm doing what I really enjoy doing right now. We're, I don't have a whole lot of crew help, but the guys that do help me, we're at like 45 races a year, which is a lot, and 3 cars here to take care of. So it gets to be a lot. So I would say we're kind of at where we want to be. It'd be nice to get a ride with a team that takes care of everything, and I've done that a couple times now, and. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm pretty happy where we're at right now. This team that we've built, with Craig and Leslie Pondish and everybody, we're super happy with that. So I'd like to get a short track Super Series championship. That's kind of we're creeping up on that. Like my whole career has been kind of a slow and steady progression, but we're creeping up on that. We're definitely in contention to win some of those races now. So. I'm happy where we're at, and we just keep working hard. We try not to race above our means by for any reason, but right now we got a pretty good program going, doing what we're doing. So.
Now, it brings my next question. Do you have like who has like motivated you and inspired you to do all this stuff you're doing today?
Probably myself, man. I mean, I push myself pretty hard. You know, I got a lot of guys behind me that helped me do this, but it was a long time ago. My dad bought me my first go-kart and was, you know, questioning, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? So now it's the other way around. You know, I question him, you know, are you sure you want to still keep doing this? You know, it's getting tougher, but yeah, you know, I push myself pretty hard. You know, there's a lot of people behind me that you know, want to see me do good. My car owners, Craig and Leslie, you know, they pretty much give me everything that I could possibly need, and you know, we try to make the best of it and run as best we can.
Well, that's the end of our interview. Danny, thank you for letting us come out.
Yep, not a problem, man. Anytime.
If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, and we'll see you next time.